In this video, I'm going to show you how to move to Los Angeles, California with no job, no place to stay, little to no credit history, and no family. A little bit about me. My name's Long. I moved from South Florida to LA back in January 2019, all by myself with no job secured, no idea where I was going to stay, and no help from family. I've been in California now for 7 years, and it's still my favorite place to live in the whole United States. Why should you move to LA? Well, LA has some of the best weather in the country, a lot of job opportunities with some of the highest pay, incredible food from all over the world, the best sports teams. You gotta love the Lakers, you gotta love the Dodgers, beaches, deserts, mountains, city, suburbs, whatever you're into, all of your favorite musicians come here to play. It has everything. First, some disclaimers. This method is only if you are single, no family, no responsibilities holding you back. You need to be mentally strong and determined. This is the hard way to do it when you have no other options. But if you're really sick of being where you're at, if the thought of living with your parents or being stuck in the town you grew up in just drives you insane, if you desperately need a change, this is for you. Do you want to be 30 years old in the same city you went to high school in? One of those people that never left? Hey, if that's you, hey, no hate. I'm happy for you, but that just wasn't me. So what are you going to need? First, you're going to need a driver's license because you won't be able to do anything without one. You need ID and you need to be able to drive a car. Next, you're going to need a car because that's going to be your main mode of transportation. It's going to be your bed, your storage, your everything. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. I did this in a 2002 Toyota Camry. And you will need your windows tinted. You're also going to need a gym membership. And the gym needs to be open 24 hours to shower, brush your teeth, and use the bathroom. I use Planet Fitness because it's the cheapest one. It has many locations and it's always open. You're also going to need at least one suit for job interviews. You need to look good. You need to look presentable. You'll also need a cooler to store your food. I just use a cheap styrofoam cooler, but if you have a fancy one, even better. Make sure you have a sleeping bag, a pillow, and a blanket. You'll also need a 200-watt car power inverter to charge all your devices. You won't be able to charge at McDonald's or Starbucks because LA has a huge homeless problem. People like to loiter in these places, so businesses block all their outlets to prevent people from hanging out all day, charging their devices in the store. So you're going to need to charge in your car. You'll also need roughly about $5,000 to $10,000 saved. $5,000 is the absolute bare minimum. I had $6,000. You need $5,000 for any unforeseen disasters. The good news is I did this with no guidance and made some critical mistakes that cost me a lot of money. So you probably won't need as much money as me, but it's a good safety net to have. Bonus, I recommend the $60 a year Costco membership for cheap gas, cheap water, and another place to use the bathroom if necessary. I also recommend having at least an associate's degree. I had an associate's degree when I made this move, and even though it doesn't really mean much, it still shows that you did go to college and you finished something. You technically have a degree. So how are you going to get there? First, you have to drive to Los Angeles. You have to bring your car. I drove from South Florida, which is one of the furthest distances to drive to Los Angeles, because just going from South Florida to Jacksonville takes about 4 hours. And then driving from Jacksonville to the end of the Panhandle is another 4 hours. So it took me 8 hours just to get out of my own state. Your drive will probably be closer, but the same rules apply. During your drive, you will not be spending time or money at restaurants. For food and drink, you're going to bring a bunch of water bottles from Costco or wherever you buy water from. You're also going to have everything you need to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So bread, peanut butter, jelly, a knife. You can also pack some dollar store canned sardines for some variety. That's all the food and drink you're going to need. At the end of each night, you are not going to get a hotel. You need to save as much money as possible. You will drive until you reach a state border and sleep in your car. Typically, there's a rest stop at each state border where you can sleep in your car and nobody bothers you. If you do this in the wintertime, you will need to wear sweatpants, a long sleeve shirt, a hoodie, and be in a cold weathered sleeping bag because the car will be freezing at night. From South Florida to Los Angeles, it took me 3 days. The first night, I slept at the Louisiana-Texas state border rest stop. Driving through Texas took the whole next day, so I slept at the New Mexico state border when I finally got through Texas. On the final day, I finally reached Los Angeles. Hopefully your drive is shorter, but if you live on the East Coast, I am proof that it's possible. And honestly, when you have the excitement of leaving your hometown and you have a million thoughts going through your head, it's not that bad of a drive. So you finally made it to Los Angeles, but where are you going to stay? Los Angeles County is huge with many different cities with different vibes, and you're not going to rent a place to stay yet. You don't know where you're going to work, and ideally you want to live as close to your job as possible to save on time and gas. And don't worry about getting a new license plate for your car. I actually had out-of-state plates for 2 years, expired registration, and suspended license, but that's a whole other story. Actually, I found that police don't bother you if you have an out-of-state license plate. They're typically not familiar with your state's license plate design. Thousands of people come to LA all the time out of state, and they assume you're just on vacation. Now, where are you going to sleep? Here's the bad news. In your car. You're going to sleep in your car as close to whatever gym you're a member of so you can easily shower and use the bathroom before and after you go to sleep. The benefit of a 24-hour gym is you can shower and use the bathroom whenever you want. And since the gym is open 24 hours, it won't be suspicious if you sleep in the gym parking lot. Here's a pro tip. If possible, you can sleep in the same exact parking lot I used to, which is the Planet Fitness at the Traffic Circle in Long Beach. This parking lot is super clutch because it had a Planet Fitness and a Vons, which is a grocery store that's open late. So nobody will notice you because there are always cars in the parking lot. That plaza also has many cheap places to eat and a laundromat. Every night, I noticed the same cars and RVs in the parking lot, so there were plenty of other people sleeping in their cars also. You won't be alone. If that spot's not an option for you, find some street parking as close to your gym as possible and sleep there. Another pro tip, have a 1-gallon water jug in your car to pee in at night or in emergencies because you're not going to want to have to walk into the gym every time you have to pee. Trust me, you'll be happy you did this. Now, the number one priority will be getting a job. You need to apply at a sales job. You're not going to make it on a regular hourly wage unless you have some kind of high-paying skill, which if you did, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. Also, you moved to Los Angeles to change your life, make a lot of money, and make your dreams come true. Not to be stuck at a low-paying job. You could have done that at home. You're going to work at a sales job with a base pay and commission. If you've never been in sales or are afraid, it's okay. These places have training, and they sometimes prefer someone with no sales experience because they can teach you everything, and they won't have to break any bad habits from any previous sales jobs. I actually had no sales experience when I came to LA. You can apply on Indeed and LinkedIn, so make sure your resume is brushed off. In the beginning, take any sales job you can get. You need some kind of income coming in. I got a job within 1 week of being in LA. Some places will hire anyone with a suit and a pulse as long as you're not a crazy person. When you do get a job and you're filling out the hiring documents for your address, you can either just leave the street address line blank and put Los Angeles for the city because these places don't really care. Or you can put the Midnight Mission address. The Midnight Mission is a homeless shelter in Skid Row where you can have mail and packages sent to you. Just use the Midnight Mission address for mail until you get an actual address. Nobody's really going to be sending you any mail because most stuff is digital nowadays anyway. So what you really want to look for is a call center sales job. You want a call center sales gig because it's indoors in a nice comfy office and they usually have free tea and coffee. So if you're into intermittent fasting, you don't need to spend money on lunch. These places have a base pay plus commission and they will train you. I worked at a debt settlement company in Culver City where I made $6,000 to $8,000 a month after taxes. That was the most money I ever made in my life at that time. I got that job after being in LA for 3 months. That gave me the base and the foundation I needed to create a new life for myself in Los Angeles. While job hopping, while getting your hair cut, whatever it may be, until you find the right gig, you have to network. Networking led me to getting a fully furnished private bedroom with a shared bathroom for $500 a month with utilities included. So I was getting paid $6,000 to $8,000 a month after taxes, and all my housing expenses were taken care of for only $500. So tell your story to people that you meet. Let them know you moved to LA with no friends or family. People will admire your ambition and courage. Just grind hard, present yourself well, and opportunities will arise. Now, you might have to start out sharing a bedroom. And yeah, that sucks, and there's gonna be some ups and downs, but it's better than going back home a quitter after you told your boss what he or she can do with that job you used to have. After you told your friends and family you're moving to a new city. Now, if you need to find a place to stay the old-fashioned way, I recommend using Facebook Marketplace to find a month-to-month room to rent. It's cheaper than an apartment, and you have the flexibility to leave whenever you want as long as you give a 30 days notice. There's no credit check required. Just have a job and don't be a crazy person. If you speak a different language, you can also check local classified websites for your community. Los Angeles has a community of whatever ethnicity you are. For example, Vietnamese people use Bao Nuoi Viet. Find your community and they usually have cheap rooms for rent. That's basically it. That's how I did it. That's how I made it 7 years in a new city and made some lifelong friends and more money than I ever did in the small town I grew up in. Now, if you want a deeper, more detailed story time of my journey, like this video, comment, and subscribe, and I'll make another video telling my whole story, all the mistakes that I made, and the hardships I went through when I moved to LA. Because the story is pretty wild, and what I went through will probably shock you. And if you're watching this video and you're not necessarily in a tough spot like I was when I moved to LA, and you have more money, a stable career lined up, a lot of money saved, and you're looking to buy or rent in Los Angeles or Orange County, I am a real estate agent, and I can help you find the perfect place to call home in Los Angeles or Orange County. I've been all over the state of California in the past 7 years. I've been to every city, tourist attractions, restaurants, hiking trails, beach, malls. I'll work with you to make your move to Los Angeles or Orange County as smooth as possible based on what you're looking for. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.